for whoever just joined, this is Federica. I'm part of the Doc City team, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to this live webinar of KAUST University. Today we will be talking about the academic offering, the life at KAUST, and the scholarship, and much more. During the presentation, please write all of your questions into the Q&A box, and we will be able to answer at the end of the presentation. It's now my pleasure to give the floor to Alexander and Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Federica. Guys, it's really great to have you with us. I see a few people with raised hands. Just a reminder that we have a few people on this evening, so we'll probably just stick to the Q&A from now. But if it goes down, we might look at letting the audience ask questions directly. But yeah, thank you for joining us. We hope you're all well. Before we get into our presentation, and we'll just quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Alex, or Alexander as my background says. I'm from the international office at KAUST, and with me is my colleague Greg. He's from the admissions office, and he's the associate director there. So if you're interested in KAUST, if you're interested in applying or looking at perhaps some graduate programs, really good to be on now. You've kind of taken a step in the right direction, because Greg is the man to answer all your admissions questions. So let's get into it. The first poll we want to run, we would like to know how much you know about KAUST. So Federica will launch it. If you could just click on which one. Maybe you know us very well. Maybe you don't know what KAUST is. It doesn't matter. We just like to know how familiar you are with us. So as the poll runs, I can see that we have quite a few people that have no idea what KAUST is, which is great, because we'll be able to teach you about it today. We have some that has heard of us, which is also good, and people that know a bit about KAUST, but no one that knows us very well, which is perfect, because that means that we can get you up to date today on it. The first thing we're going to do, I might just close this poll, is to show you a quick video. It's easy for us to talk about KAUST, but we also find that it's much easier to describe by using a video. Everything that you see in this video will be is located on our campus. We do have a very large campus. It's about 39 square kilometers. So this will give you a bit of a taste of what it's like at KAUST.
Discover a place unexpected, a place where the improbable becomes possible, where conventions are challenged and new ideas are born. Discover a place where your capabilities reach new heights, where your ideas converge with others to make a lasting mark, where there is a shared passion for doing things that matter, to change the world through science and innovation. Come to a place where your curiosity can unleash new discoveries, where ideas launch startups and dreams build new technologies, where competition drives collaboration to make lives better. Discover a place for your passion and potential. Discover KAUST.
All right, so that's a quick video on KAUST. For those of you that don't know, KAUST, or King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, was established over 10 years ago now. We're relatively young. We're a graduate level research university based on the shores of the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia. We are, by graduate level research university, we offer master's programs and PhDs, which we'll talk about in a bit. Our goal is we strive to enhance the welfare of society and the world, with a special focus on 4 areas of global significance, which are food, water, energy, and the environment. This is an overhead view of our campus and our city, our community as a whole. It's comprised of a few different areas. We have the community area, we have the student housing, marina, we have a commercial centre, We have the campus itself where the labs and a lot of the classrooms are. We have a research park and the innovation center as well, where our innovation entrepreneurship guys live. And if that's something you're interested in as well, KAUST provides a lot of the infrastructure to help launch your business idea and get educated on what you need in terms to protect your IP as well. We have an exceptional quality of life here. We have over 30 different eateries. We have schools at a primary and high school level, and kindergartens and childcare for children. We have our own health clinic. We have shuttle buses, grocery stores, recreational facilities plenty, including a golf course, which you can see up here, snorkeling gyms, a movie theater, and that's to name a few. We even have our own bowling alley here, which is quite unique for a university. I think you'll agree. Some KAUST quick facts. So just something to give you a bit of an overview of the demographics here and how the student body and community is made up. We have over 1,100 students now. 79% of them are PhD students, as this is a research university. Surprisingly, people don't realize, but we're actually 65% of our students are international. So we are an international university with all our courses, all our programs that are taught in English. One of the key stats that we talk about a lot is our student to faculty ratio. It's one of the best in the world at 7 students to 1 faculty. We have, our alumni looks relatively small a number from this screen, but remembering that we're just over 10 years old. So that is something to take into consideration. We will show you that our alumni are quite successful though in a later slide. As a whole, we have 7,000 community members. That includes the students, the staff, families, everyone that lives on campus. And it's made up of now over 110 nationalities. So as I said, it truly is an international university. This is a breakdown of our student body. We're pretty proud that 35% of our student body is female. Within the STEM space, that is quite a large number. You can see again the breakdown in terms of regions. Local students are around 35%, Asian students 33%, and then you can see the rest, with Europe making up 13%, but growing. So this is our global research impact. In terms of rankings, we're ranked #1 in the world in the QS citations per faculty for the past 4 years, maybe 5 years, Greg, now.
Yeah.
But it demonstrates how much research we're pumping out. We're ranked #1 in the top 20 for universities under 20 years old, which is quite a feat as well, considering the breadth of universities out there. And 9% of our faculty are highly cited researchers at KAUST, which 9% doesn't sound like a lot, but in terms of highly cited researchers, it is a large percentage. You can see here our global reach in terms of collaborations. We collaborate with institutions and faculty all around the world. So I'll pass this part on to Greg. We're going to talk about how students are admitted to KAUST and the KAUST Fellowship, as well as the admissions requirements.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. Hello, everyone. So KAUST is a merit-based institution. So every application is evaluated on its merit, and we're looking for high-quality students. The language of examination and instruction is in English, and we technically have only graduate programs at KAUST. So we offer a master's, PhD, and a master's/PhD, which is allows you out of an undergraduate degree to go directly into PhD studies and along the way finishing the MS degree. So the most exciting thing about the KAUST offering, I think, is that that it's every student that's admitted is given the KAUST fellowship. So it's not something you need to apply for externally. It's part of every offer that we do send out. So and it's very competitive. It gives you full coverage, so you're not paying anything for tuition fees. Your housing is completely covered for yourself and your spouse if you're married. You have basically medical and dental coverage and relocation support, which allows us to get you from your country of origin to Saudi Arabia free of charge. And every year that you study with us, you will receive either a flight back or the equivalent in terms of how much it would cost to get you and your dependents back home. And then, of course, return you to your point of origin when you finish. So it's very nice. And on top of that, you get paid. So it's basically you get paid to study. It's there's no expectation you do other work. And in fact, the terms and conditions explicitly state that your main focus is the research that you're doing. And so a very unique situation. And often when we talk about this, people, the first question is like, so how much does it cost? So let me just reiterate, it doesn't cost anything, okay? It is, and is one of the most amazing, we have some of the most amazing labs, and some of the most, renowned faculty, and it's at no cost to you for at the master's level, and it's not any cost to you at the PhD level. So all of your studies, basically you're living, not paying any rent, not paying utilities, not paying internet, not paying gym fees, not paying transportation fees. It is an absolutely amazing package.
And it's also guaranteed while you're here, isn't it, Greg? You do not have to apply for this every year.
That's right.
Duration of your studies.
So it's part of the terms and conditions of the offer, unless you get dismissed and you don't do it. No, anyways, it is something that's available. So so in the 3 degrees, basically
I think, did we have a poll there?
Yes, I was about actually to step in. So because we did talk about we're going to talk about the degree, we just wanted to ask which program level are you actually looking for? We will be covering all of them during the presentation, but we're just curious to know.
Cool.
Did we have one for scholarships?
Yeah, we will be launching just right after this, yes.
Okay. Okay, so a bit of a mix here, mostly PhD, which is great. We love PhD students. So great. So I think let's let Greg speak to the next slide and explain it, and then we can launch the next one as
Absolutely.
Well. Perfect. So of the 3 degrees that we offer, there's the master's degree. It's 36 credits. So basically, it's a program that you would finish probably, depending on the course load, a year and a half, something in that range. And basically 3 semesters and 1 summer session. And again, there's a research component with it, and potentially a thesis, depending on what you choose to study. As well, we have PhD, which is approximately 3.5 years. You have to spend at least 3.5 years on campus, the residency requirement for a PhD. And basically, there is specific coursework that you need to do, plus directed research with you and your supervisor. And the most unique one that we have is the MS/PhD, which is a combined track, which allows you to go directly from a bachelor's into working with a faculty advisor directly on your PhD research, and along the way finishing the requirements to get the MS and the PhD work. And that's approximately probably around 5 years to complete. So there's another poll, I believe.
Yes,
yeah,
we were
them around, but
we just wanted to know, before we talked about scholarships, and as Greg mentioned, is it something that comes with the program, but we wanted to know if it's important for you. I like asking this question because the answers are always positive.
Yeah, for some students, it might not be something that they're too worried about. Others it is, and it's fine either way. There's no right or wrong answer. It just helps us in determining if we have the right offering out there for students as well. So great.
Perfect. So KAUST is, do you want to talk about this, Alex, or are you good?
Yeah, sure. I mean, KAUST is made up of 3 different academic divisions, and these divisions house our programs. Okay, so if you have a look on the screen here, we have the Biological, Environmental Sciences and Engineering division. And these are the programs on here which fit into this division. For Computer, Electrical and Mathematical Science and Engineering, they house these programs. And then the Physical Sciences and Engineering division house these programs. Now, the other thing that come under each of the divisions are the specific research centers. So we have specific research centers under each division that cater to, I will say they're not distinct to one division. Sometimes they're working across others, but they're maintained and they're administered underneath for example, BESI, SEMSI, or PSC. I'm not sure, some of you may have seen our webinar early in the week where we talked a bit about our Extreme Computing Research Center, for example. That one, we have Matteo Passani, one of our professors here that works on fluid dynamics and specifically the aerodynamics and the wings on the McLaren Formula One cars. So some pretty interesting stuff coming out of the research centers. But we would like to know for everyone that has joined us this afternoon or this evening, wherever you are, what program or what area are you interested in for your studies going forward? I think we have a poll here. Again, take a look at the programs under each division and let us know. Looks pretty even. Looks like SEMSI, computing, biological science. Okay. Great. So you can see here, those that have responded, SEMSI, computer science, but a pretty even spread, which is great. I will say as well, and please take a look in your own time. We do have really good websites for these divisions, and on the BESI and on the PSC websites, they actually have inquiry forms as well. So if you're interested in asking a specific question to the divisions, those inquiry forms go directly to the representatives from those divisions. So just keep that in mind as well. So Greg, I think we're back to you, and maybe we can, I saw a few questions about age as well. So maybe we can just mention that as well in the requirements here.
Okay.
If we do have age, which.
So the admissions requirements, again, because KAUST is a fantastic opportunity. It's very competitive for a small university. We take in approximately 340 students, 350 students a year, and so it's very competitive. What we require, our application process, it is free. There's no charge to apply to KAUST, and we have several rounds. We've been taking applications for 2021 since October, and we're currently in our final round, which is a rolling admissions round. So there's we're remaining open on a space available basis. So I mean, there's no guarantee that you will be considered for 2021, but if you're thinking about going to school for this year, please get the application in as soon as possible. Visit the admissions.kaust.edu.sa site, and there you'll find the information on the programs and get a chance to fill it out. So in the application process, we require documents from any institution you have attended previously or have graduated from. So you just tell us where you've gone to school and upload unofficial documents. If you finished, if you graduated from an institution make sure they're complete. We're not looking for a graduation certificate. We want to know the classes you've completed and the course marks that you've been assessed. And if you have a degree, when that degree was issued. So make sure that information has that. We also need to know more about you. So we want to know a statement of purpose. Why are you considering KAUST? Sure, KAUST is this very nice package, but why should we consider you? Because we have a lot of applications. We get about 8,000 applications for the 300 spaces. So a statement of purpose explaining what your area of interest is and why you think you should be considered, as well a CV outlining what you've done professionally, what you've done academically. Just give us information so we can understand that you are the student that we're looking for. The transcripts, again, are something that don't need to be official at the beginning. Basically, if you're in your final year at an institution and looking to continue for next year, upload what you have. We understand, so don't wait for the final ones. Get the application in. We will require a complete transcript when it's available. Now, on the fourth line, it says a GPA of 3.5 or on a 4 scale. That's just kind of a advice that we're really looking for students in the upper echelon of their cohort. Okay, so wherever you're studying, rest assured you don't need to translate that to a 3.5 on a 4. We will do the conversions if necessary, and our staff is well trained on marks from different places in the world. So just provide the information as to what your current mark is, whether it's out of 30, whether it's out of 120, whether it's out of 40, whether it's out of 20, 10, whatever the case may be, just record that for us. So, but again, we're looking for high quality students, but don't be discouraged. Oh, I have a 3.47. What am I going to do? Like, definitely, it's not just the GPA that we're worried about. We're looking at you in a complete picture. And that's why the information provided it's like applying for a job, really, and so put your best foot forward with that. As well, recommendations. We're looking for recommendations we are a research institution. So if you have research experience, that's definitely the people that we'd like to get a recommendation from. If you don't have that, that's okay. A professor, somebody that knows you from your current studies, or even some work experience is possible. The GRE at KAUST is not required, okay? It's a compelling document, especially if you've performed very well, because it gives us kind of a benchmark to compare you for other people that have taken the GRE, but it is not required. And what else? And so the research experience for PhD is again, highly recommended, and that's going to help your application through the process. One major question that we often get, and that's the one about English language proficiency. So we only, and this is the policy right now. We have 2 examinations that we currently accept, which is the IELTS academic at a 6.0 and the IBT TOEFL at a 79. So that's if you've studied in English in Canada or in the US or the UK, Ireland, New Zealand, or Australia, and have graduated from a degree program in those 6 countries, you would not need to provide any English. And yes, we know that there's lots of schools around the world, in many countries in the Netherlands and in China and in India and throughout Africa that teach in English. The language is of examination and instruction is in English, but we have a very limited definition. So please understand that. And people are like, well, I understand it may cost some money to do those tests, but that's the absolute only expense that you will incur if you're admitted to KAUST. We will pay your visa fees. We'll pay the taxi ride from the airport to KAUST. And so again, it's not a very wide open, but there's no other ways to do it. It's those 2 official examinations are how we prove English proficiency. So cool. A lot of details there. Again, if you have any questions, admissions.kaust.edu.sa will outline that. have this documentation ready, and the application process is quite quick as well. You would need to upload your personal contact information, as well as a copy of your passport or identification. And with the recommendations, you would just identify who you would like to receive a recommendation from, and our system will reach out to them. You give us the email address and reach out to them. We don't take paper copies of recommendations. It's communication that is sent from us, and it comes back directly to us from the recommender provider. Cool.
And it's all done online, as Greg said. So no charge for the application. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us today or head over to the website that's listed on the screen now. We'll follow up with an email later, but take note, because there's also a friendly bot called Hakeem on the admissions website, and he's fantastic in answering questions that you might have that aren't listed specifically on the website immediately. One of the things that we also wanted to tell you about quickly was the Visiting Students Research Program with the potential remote option as well. We do have the opportunity for students to come to KAUST when the borders are open, obviously, to do an internship in research with us. The eligibility is very similar to the graduate programs that we have, and they're from 3 to 6 months long. Students do get, in many cases, get published as part of the research they do with us, but in addition to the benefits you see on the screen, including that $1,000 a month living allowance, you get all your accommodation, your airfares, access to recs and sports facilities, medical insurance, and of course, access to our core labs. We have amazing facilities at KAUST. If you haven't heard of us or haven't seen them yet, please head on over to YouTube and type in KAUST Core Labs. You can see some of the state-of-the-art equipment there. It is national lab level, so something that our students get access to, whereas in a lot of other places, for example, the US, if you're a student doing a grad program, you might have to wait until 2 or 3 in the morning to get access to this type of laboratory equipment, if even you can get access to it. So it's really amazing. Please check it out. What else can I say about the internship? There is the potential of doing a remote option at the moment, given the current situation. Have a look at the website on the screen, and any questions, just let us know. We spoke about our alumni a little bit earlier. As I said, we're relatively young, so we don't have the breadth or the numbers of alumni that many other institutions have. But for the alumni that we do have, just under 2,000, they are headed into some amazing careers and some amazing research. 65% go on to be employed, and the other 24% go on to academia. We don't get all the statistics back from the entirety of our alumni subset, so that's why that's not equaling up to 100 there. But you can see from the screen in front of you right now some pretty impressive places, and a lot of the universities that our students go on to do PhD or further research at, the opportunities do come about because of the relationship of the professors that are currently at KAUST, referring them or let's say, what would I say, Greg? When a lot of the work that we're collaborating with at the moment, students are involved in, and they develop the relationships throughout their studies here at KAUST as well. So some pretty amazing institutions, as you can see, and some pretty amazing companies: Aramco, Google, Dow, SABIC, to name a few. Greg spoke earlier about accommodation being part of our KAUST fellowship, or our scholarship that we give to all students that get admitted to KAUST. And he mentioned that as part of it, it's not just a house and you go in and you have to supply everything. The housing is all fully furnished. You get your own room. All the maintenance is taken care of. You get a phone in the house, and if anything is wrong, you simply call up maintenance and they'll come over and fix it. We have high-speed internet, few hundred megabytes a second, satellite TV, the phone service, as I said. We have school daycare centers and on-campus shopping and medical facilities, which we showed you briefly earlier. We also talked about some of the facilities that we have, such as our eateries, the coffee shops. We do put in this presentation Subway, Burger King, Domino's, Starbucks. A lot of people are surprised to find that we have these brands here, but one of the things that we should also say is that students are not refined to KAUST. So they are able to, although if you come into KAUST, you do need to have a pass. The community within KAUST is allowed to come and go as they please. So we often go into Jeddah, where we have all the shops, everything available there. It's about an hour's drive from the campus. And not to mention all the other beautiful sceneries up north, for example, Taif. You can see some amazing camping and craters. And Greg, I think you've explored a little bit of the outside of Saudi Arabia here as well?
Yeah, it actually is. I mean, Saudi Arabia hasn't had a lot of flights out of the kingdom, so had a chance to kind of visit a lot of places that I've been here now 7 years and got to explore some amazing sites here. So KAUST is located right on the Red Sea, and that's amazing. But there's also so many different areas, and it's a very large landmass. Lots of desert, lots of beautiful scenery, lots of hills, lots of things that you would never expect. You know, I think a lot of people just imagine just sand as far as you can see, but there's it's an amazing variety of things, coffee plantations and places that when you go to, you're like, I can't believe this is Saudi Arabia. So it is a beautiful place to visit. The people are great, and it's a very welcoming and truly an international center. So it is a wonderful place to be, and definitely I strongly recommend checking it out if you're looking for a really different experience, but also one that would provide you with amazing facilities, exceptional instruction, and really an adventure. I think that's the key thing about what KAUST can provide.
I was thinking, Greg, maybe if you are interested in the outdoors and what it's like in Saudi Arabia outside of KAUST and kind of the lifestyle there, one of our colleagues has a YouTube channel called Eric and Ash. So they're on YouTube and they often go outside of KAUST and document what they're doing via video. So check that out. Maybe Greg, I don't know what the channel link is. Maybe you can put it.
I just search it on just go Eric and Ash Saudi Arabia, and you'll find them. And kind of cool. You'll get to see them. I mean, if you're into geology, if you're into the oceans, it's an amazing place, and you'll see things that are like, wow, I had no idea it would be so beautiful.
Oh, actually, I found this, so I've just put it in. Guys, maybe save this. You can check it out. It's one of our colleagues' YouTube channels. He goes around Saudi Arabia to all the beautiful places around us. Okay, so I think that's it. Federica, do we have any more polls that we were meant to
So
run?
we actually have one is about asking if after this presentation we'll actually be thinking of applying. And then there was actually one regarding the Middle East. So we haven't asked if they've actually visited the Middle East yet. If you'd like, I can launch one of them.
Let's maybe we launch it at the end. How about we go into the Q&A now?
Absolutely. I can see that you actually, Greg, did a really great job answering some of the questions. We have Luna that is asking is it possible to learn Arabic at KAUST, if it's one of the services offered to students?
Yeah, so I haven't learned it personally. I've kind of just learned through some friends a few words, but there's definitely a lot of social classes that the community offers to learn Arabic. Greg, have you taken any of those classes?
Well, you know, I've been here a few years. I've been studying it. There's conversational classes that often offered by volunteers. The community has Arabic opportunities. You can learn lots of languages here. You can learn Chinese, Italian. You probably, since you know, like there's a lot of. I mean, our community is very diverse, and so there's so many things you can do here. If you want to learn languages, if you're into board games, if you're into diving, there's an underwater photography club. There is a Toastmasters and many things in terms of professional development. So lots of ways to keep busy and really, you know, gain an amazing network of people from all over the globe. I think that's the one thing that surprises people the most when they come to KAUST, is that you never imagine that you would have such a diverse international community. I've been fortunate working in universities for 20 some years, and this is by far probably the most international campus that I think I've ever visited, again, it's, the people are wonderful, and you're in a small community, but it's a very community that's focused on science and learning and research.
Yeah,
that's great.
And of course, if you're in an Arabic-speaking country, it's always easy to find someone to practice your Arabic with as well.
Exactly.
There is a question here, and from iPhone. So
yeah, I was about to read it. Yes. They're asking if it's living in the campus is safe for a girl. They actually say, sorry to ask, so wondering how.
It's a really good question, and iPhone, thank you for asking the question. And my apologies that we didn't have one of our colleagues on with us today to perhaps give you that perspective. But I can, you know, I'm not going to speak for them, but KAUST is a very, very safe place. An example of how easy I guess it has been for women. Saudi Arabia introduced driving for women in the country around 2 years ago. Within KAUST, though, within the compound of KAUST, which is private, women have been driving since KAUST has started up. So when our colleagues here that are women, they obviously dress professionally, but they don't have to wear an abaya. They don't have to cover up. Everyone is respected in the way they wish to be, as long as it's respected. So I think what we can do, if the person, if iPhone would like some further information, please fill out the form that you get as a follow-up email. And what we can do is get one of our colleagues that's a woman, or one of our students that's a woman, to join us and answer that. But I will say Federica we've done several webinars now. We have had quite a few different female students and colleagues join us, and they've all said that they felt incredibly safe, and they really loved being here.
Absolutely. We had like few webinars, and the feedback was always very, very positive. And it's actually, you shouldn't be sorry for asking this kind of question, because I think it's important to understanding, you know, the environment you're going to join. And another thing that, of course, we mentioned in the presentation, but maybe it's good to say, there are women in the courses, because, you know, sometimes, Alex, we get to ask, because it's a STEM environment, if how is the ratio male and female, and we actually mentioned in the presentation there are different females, so there will be a community that you can refer to when joining.
Yeah, I mean, KAUST is a very high student population, or female student population, in terms of a STEM programmed institution. We have around 35% and growing. So it is if you put us in terms of the US, for example, we looked at the top 5 and what those best percentages were. KAUST would fit within the top 5 there. So, yeah.
Okay, so I know that Greg already mentioned in the presentation terms of GPA, but I guess it varies from candidate to candidate. Someone is asking, I have 3.8 out of 5 GPA, can I still apply? Do you think I have a chance? One thing that maybe would be good to mention is if you can share some numbering with us on how many people are applying, how many people get admitted.
Yeah, so I mean, we get somewhere around 75 to 8,000 applications a year, submitted applications that, you know, and probably another 7,000 that the people partially fill out. So there's a lot of interest in KAUST, but we only admit a small number. Really, last year was our largest intake, and I think we ended up with 345 admitted students to our MS and PhD and MS/PhD program. So a small number, not a massive number, but considering that the incoming class is quite small, it is very competitive. So someone with a 3.8 on 5, it actually, again, because there's no charge in terms of putting an application in, again, if you consider, if that puts you in the upper echelon of, you know, if you're in the top 10, top 15% of your class, by all means, you know, put the application in. I think that's a better gauge than worrying about, does this number equal, like if you're, so think about, if you can compare yourself to your peers, are you in the, are you last in your class? Are you halfway? Are you in the middle? Or are you kind of in the upper third of the class, and if that's the case, by all means, get an application in, because it's not just your GPA. We want to know, maybe you have publications in Nature, maybe you have research in a specific area that matches perfectly with a faculty member here at KAUST. So don't self-eliminate yourself, do your research and be realistic, but by all means, if you feel that you have a chance, we'd love an opportunity to review your information, okay?
And I think the other thing to mention is that, and Greg said it in the presentation, so KAUST does recognize, and admissions recognize, that every institution is different and not everyone uses the same scoring. So yeah, even though your number might look different to what we've projected as a kind of a rough guide, don't let that stop you from applying, because your institution may have completely different scoring, and therefore, if you're a good student and you are, please submit an application.
Juan Manuel is asking if it's possible to apply if I have a family with children.
Yes, definitely. So again, KAUST is a great place if you have dependents, if you have a spouse, definitely they're invited to come along, and KAUST will pay for their transfer, as well as if you have children. We have several schools on campus. We have a K-12 IB international program here that is very nice. There is daycare, so much daycare here, it's crazy, and it's a campus that's designed to support you and your family. So yes, it's definitely possible. And the relocation piece that I mentioned, that opportunity to return to your country, that's also provided to your spouse and to your dependent children as well.
That's great. We did talk, I know that we already had some question, but maybe it's good to mention. Vanya is asking us about application deadline, and she's asking by what date you recommend to send the application, given in consideration a number of places. She's referring to master programs.
So it's a good question, Vanya. Again, we're into the middle of April, and it is an international school. So as you know, in the US and at KAUST as well, we have sent out a lot of offers already, and so our class is slowly filling up. That doesn't mean that it's full, and so it's hard. Like, we will, on a rolling basis, consider applications until such time as the program you're interested in can't take any more. And so get the application in soon, okay? If your application it looks good and we can't consider it, we'll probably contact you and say, could we move it to the spring intake when it opens up, or the fall intake? Normally in the 2022 year, we have usually a spring start date and a fall start date. So spring is, actually it's funny, today we were talking about seasons. Here there's really very few seasons. It's summer, and then it's slightly winter for a little bit, but winter is 26 degrees and not 36 degrees. So remember that the fall is starting in August. So we usually start our classes at the end of August, and our spring session is at the end of January. So get the application in. Normally we have rounds, and our application deadline for 2022, which would probably be around, our first round would be ready for October of 2021. So that session is not open yet. And so if you're interested in applying, stay tuned, come back to our website for 2022. If you'd like to apply for this year, by all means, the application is still open.
Perfect. Luna is asking, so I have a specialist diploma, 5-year studies. I'm not sure from which country Luna is writing. Should I apply for
Russia, possibly?
Maybe Luna, if you're connected, just let us know this. Should I apply for Master of Science or PhD? Maybe we can clarify a little bit the requirement for both programs.
So I don't know off the top of my head, but Kyrgyzstan. So when you so 5 years of study, I don't know the exact requirements for your country off the top of my head, but we'd have to take a look. Is it considered equivalence if you were to study in Russia or another location? Would you go into a PhD, a master's? Just send me an email after, or just, I don't know how to do this. I'll write you how can I do this? I'll just write you a message, Luna.
I'll put the admissions email in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just drop it in there, and we'll be able to check what you would be considered on. Again, if we consider that you already have the equivalent of an MS, we will change your application to a PhD. And so that's something that we will look after. So it's nothing to worry about too much. But definitely, Alex will give you the contact stuff, and we will
send
know.
her your email privately. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. So you're currently completing. So this year in 2021, you will have your MS degree. Yes, you can definitely apply for a PhD for the fall of 2021, or you can apply for the spring of 2022 for a PhD.
Good. Again, about application, we already answered this question. So Chris is asking if 106 to 110 in Italian is valid for the admission.
Yeah, so I think, Federica, like we said before, we don't like to say what is or what is not without seeing all the information, and we don't want to say anything that may discourage that or may not be, or encourage when we can't tell the full overview of it. So we best, if someone,
so let me clarify on that one, Christian, like that's within the range that we're looking for. Okay, again, there's a whole bunch of other things that we do consider, but again, one thing that you said, 106 and 110, I mean, that's kind of in the area that we would like to see. Okay, so again, each country, we have a slightly different minimum requirement, but again, that's dependent on a whole bunch of other factors, including your research, your recommendations, and many things.
That's good. And I also wanted to remind you all that after this event, we will be sending you an email with the direct link to apply, and they will also include an email address that you can contact in case you have any sort of further question that we didn't have time, or they're also very specific because, as we said, there are also, each of you will have different sort of requirements, background, GPA, and as Alexandra and Greg said, each of you will be different. So it's also important to take each of you distinctly, and maybe you can then schedule a call or a meeting to discuss your situation. Talking about the admission process, I know we already answered, but maybe it will be useful for everyone regarding all the documentation and the recommendation letter. Are there any sort of tips that you feel like sharing about who should write those letters, and maybe about the motivational letter if is needed? What sort of tips you can share what they should write?
I think, yeah, Greg, maybe just say how we collect those references as well. But one of the things that, if you're putting a personal statement in your CV, make sure it's in English.
Yes.
We had one today we're looking at where we couldn't understand it because it was just written in a completely different language. So that's the first point. But Greg will tell you about the referee stuff.
So the key thing on the recommendations, we've talked it several times here, but just want to reiterate that the recommendation isn't a letter that they've given to you and you're uploading for them. We want that recommendation directly from that person. So if you're looking for a recommender, contact them before. Say, is it okay if you've given me a recommendation? I'm going to use your email, because we'll email them directly to their professional email, and that will come back to us directly as well. So what we're looking for in a statement of purpose and supporting documentation is a compelling story. Basically, we want to, in a short, a couple of hundred words, explaining what you've done, why you're interested in KAUST. If you have identified someone you'd like to work with, explain what your experience is in the area and why you should be selected out of that 8,000 pile of applications that we receive. And so in terms of preparing for that, think about it is the KAUST package, all told, for the health insurance and the monthly allowance and everything, is approximately $75,000 US a year. Okay, and that's what the equal. And on top of that, you have the other kind of costs that you don't have to pay, like the internet and power and water. And there's a thing called 959 here, where they will, if something happens, you just pick up the phone, dial 3 numbers, and they'll come and help you. So it's a package. It's very competitive, and so make sure you make your letter as clear and concise as possible. And you're basically selling yourself. You're saying, hey, I'm the right person for this program. And so it's like applying for a nice job. It should be viewed the same way. Caetano, your question, sorry, is that we are a STEM institution. And so we don't have marketing. We don't have in the area of economics, there may be something with our applied math or in statistics, but in general, marketing programs, we don't have anything where it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics basically.
Great, thank you. Coming towards the end of our presentation, I wanted to ask maybe if we'd like to launch the last poll, asking about whether they might be thinking of putting an application through, and also wanted to ask Alexander and Greg. I mean, a lot has been said. We only had like an hour, but if you feel that there is anything that you want to add to the audience. So let me know if you want to launch the poll, or maybe just starting by sharing maybe an extra tips or advice to our audience tonight.
I mean, I think if anyone thinks of, maybe not right now, but if anyone does think of any questions, make sure they go on the admissions website. And if they have questions beyond that, we do have this session on, I think, is it Thursday this week?
Absolutely,
well.
yes.
So feel free to join us for that. Look, we're going to be covering the same stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. But if you have questions, it's a great chance for you to come in and get them answered directly from us as well. I want to remind everyone that we're talking about students coming to KAUST in this regard. So I've seen a few questions about postdocs. If you have questions about those type of positions, just go to our HR website, because they take care of all of those inquiries at a postdoc level. But if you're interested in a master's or a PhD or a combined version or even an internship, that's where we can help you.
Sounds great. I don't know if Greg has anything to add because closing with the last polls.
Well, I think I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. It's great talking to you, and I hope that you're interested in what KAUST offers. And again, I strongly recommend explore the opportunity. It is it's kind of, the education piece is amazing, but there's another level of adventure, I think, that KAUST provides. And again, thanks for listening today. And Frederica, over to you.
Thank you, Greg. So just wondering, now we're about to close our presentation, if you've been thinking about applying, as we talked about master programs, PhD, internship, just let us know. And as I said, we will be follow up with an email. So you will get track link for application, and you can also be able to ask for further questions, absolutely. Let me just share the results with you all. So we have some people that says not sure, and then we have PhD, internship, and MS PhD.
Excellent. Well,
Fantastic.
yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Federica, for hosting as always. We'll see you real soon. And again, any questions that anyone has, please check out our admissions website. Again, there's it's a really easy website to navigate with a lot of information, and it also has a bot on there that is powered by a human. So if you have any questions, chances are it'll be able to answer them directly on the spot for you. Otherwise, anything else, look out for the email, or we'll see you later in the week.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Alexandra and Greg, for your time. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
See you.